Your biological signature is currently being drained by economic osmosis. Look at your vitality threshold, the way your nervous system triggers an immediate surge of anxiety or compliance whenever you face a financial deficit, effectively allowing the matrix to install a life force meter into your apex frequency. You are a biological unit experiencing a state of terminal kinetic liquidation. The matrix has successfully branded money as a static paper instrument, but in the terminal of the absolute power grid, money is raw energy, the stored potential of your heartbeat, your focus, and your limited temporal span, used to ensure your total output is harvested while you are left with the exhaust of survival. You are living in a state of chronic extraction infection, where your activation energy is being spent earning a living rather than commanding a reality. The system doesn't want your work, it wants your life force to be the proof that your spirit has been successfully converted into a standardized battery for the architect. Thousands of years ago, wealth was defined by the biological capacity to retain internal heat. Your ancestor, the sovereign of the unmapped dark, understood that labor for another was a tracking beacon for the slave. He mastered primal grounding in the law of the energetic volt. He didn't seek employment or wages within the tribal hierarchy. He offered the visual rage of a total, unyielding energy autocracy, the state where one views their time as a non-renewable biological asset and refuses to trade it for symbolic credits. His hierarchy was built on the foundation of the metabolic sovereign mandate, the understanding that the human brain is a machine that achieves its highest strategic density only when it operates as an individuated power plant that has purged the need to spend its focus on the mediocre. His biological rebellion was his total refusal to be drained. He possessed a mind that treated routine tasks as a biological toxin, stripping away the busy work sludge until only the monolith of his raw, sharpened intent remained. He understood that the moment you clock in, you have surrendered your apex signature. To reclaim your energy, you must first become psychologically repulsed by the concept of hard work. Money is energy is the implementation of the collar of the privateer for your final internal dominance. The system wants you to be productive and diligent, words that mean harvestable and weak. Absolute sovereignty is a biological siege of the energetic grid. It is the visual rage of the architect, seeing the social grid for what it is, a series of subscription hooks, stimulus response lures, and deciding to be the one who shorts the circuit by being indifferently efficient. You must develop a clinical cold contempt for mainstream career logic. Building a career is a horizontal bond for the herd to keep them tethered to a common level of exhaustion. Absolute presence is a vertical tool for the elite. You must learn to occupy the blind spots of the extraction radar. Use the temporal noose of the total output strike to force your biology into a state of hyper-focus. Use the false safety of a calm, robotic delivery to mask the activation of your total internal independence. This is the color of freedom. By mastering the art of the unmoved soul, you become the only person in the room whose value is not being broadcast from their current exhaustion level. The matrix cannot simulate the leverage of a man who views every dollar as a captured minute of life. Your time is the temporal noose, and your need to be a provider is the knot. Every overtime hour you work to buy things you don't need, and every side hustle that leaves you too tired to think is a signature on your own biological death warrant. I command you, initiate the total energy audit. Your mind is a biological weapon, and it is currently being jammed by the static of your own socialized fear of being lazy. You must perform a hard reset of the metabolic instincts. Stop being industrious, the industrial waste designed to keep you at the bottom of the ledger. Stop participating in their grind culture and ambition myths, the digital propaganda designed to make you believe that burnout is a victory. Stop using their economic protocols, the narratives designed to keep you in a state of constant strategic failure. You must prune your life of energy parasites. If a task requires you to sacrifice your focus without increasing your sovereignty, it is a biological saboteur. You must learn to love the weight of the absolute sovereignty. This is the monolith strategy, becoming a biological fortress that is the source by choice and sovereign by design. Command: seal the leak or be the fuel. The neural interface of your metabolic allocation is currently suffering from labor signal poisoning. Look at your exhaustion threshold, the way your nervous system triggers a microspike of self-worth or duty, the act of discharging your biological battery, the moment you complete a task for a superior, effectively allowing the matrix to install a service validation loop into your apex frequency. You are a biological unit experiencing a total potential sovereignty liquidation. The matrix has successfully replaced your primal predator resource drive with a systemic productivity protocol. You believe that by working hard, you are earning your freedom, but in the terminal of the absolute power grid, hard work is just a biological friction used to ensure your neurological momentum is always converted into the architect's structural expansion. This is the visual rage of the domesticated male, seeing your high-value activation energy being bled out into meeting deadlines and fulfilling quotas, while the true operator remains in a state of absolute zero, converting his total rejection of trading time into a biological thrust that seizes the means of production. The system doesn't want your success. It wants your fatigue to be the proof that your spirit has been successfully socialized and placed in a public utility loop. In the ancient hierarchy, the law of the unbreaking stone, the master was the one who could survive the total deletion of productive guilt. Your ancestor, the sovereign of the unmapped dark, understood that energy was the only absolute currency, not the symbols used to track it. He mastered primal grounding by becoming a metabolic autocrat, a figure who understood that the only way to retain authority was to be the primary consumer of his own focus. He didn't seek employment security or work-life balance within the tribal hierarchy. He provided the visual rage of a total, unannounced output embargo. His hierarchy was built on the foundation of asymmetric energy retention, the understanding that the human brain is a machine that achieves peak respect density only when it realizes it is in the presence of a force that does not exchange its vitality for the crumbs of the herd. His biological rebellion was his total refusal to be useful. He possessed a mind that treated helping out as a biological trap, a signal that his trajectory was being averaged out by the herd. He understood that the moment you do your best for the system, you have surrendered your apex signature and become predictable biomass. To be a master, you must first become psychologically repulsed by the concept of usefulness. Money is energy is the activation of the anti-chew, the refusal to be energetically digested, protocol for your final internal dominance. The matrix wants you to be diligent and ambitious, words that mean harvestable and weak. Absolute sovereignty is a biological siege of the metabolic grid. It is the visual rage of the architect, seeing the social grid for what it is, a series of efficiency hooks, stimulus response lures, and deciding to be the one who shorts the circuit by being indifferently static. You must develop a clinical cold contempt for mainstream career ethics. Going the extra mile is a horizontal bond for the herd to keep them tethered to a common level of burnout. Absolute presence is a vertical tool for the elite. You must learn to occupy the psychological high ground by controlling the flow of your own biological signals. Use the temporal noose of the total output strike to drive the system's influence into a state of tracking failure. Use the false safety of a calm robotic delivery to mask the activation of your total internal independence. This is the color of freedom. By mastering the art of the unmoved soul, you become the only person in the room whose life force is an unshakable internal weapon. The one who can go the longest without reporting his progress is the one who eventually owns the result. Your time is the temporal noose, and your need to be seen as a hard worker is the knot. Every staying late to show commitment and every hustle you perform to prove your ambition is a signature on your own biological death warrant. I command you, initiate the second stage of the energy rearmament. Your mind is a biological engine, and it is currently being choked by the industry sludge of the unworthy. You must perform a total neural asset reset. Stop being productive, the industrial waste designed to keep you at the bottom of the ledger. Stop being a node in their network of mutual labor exploitation. Stop being a unit of compliance in their ledger of men who can be motivated by a paycheck. You must prune your life with the collar of absolute sovereignty. If a job requires you to trade your health for a salary, the job is a biological failure. You must learn to love the weight of the absolute sovereignty. You must learn to love the friction-heavy hours where the noise of the collective is muted and your dominance is the only signal in the dark. This is the monolith strategy, becoming a biological fortress that is the energy by choice and sovereign by design. Command: seal the metabolism or be the battery. Your biological trajectory has reached the terminal velocity of metabolic dissolution. Look at your burnout threshold, the exact moment your nervous system triggers a panic response because you have looked at your career path, realized it is nothing but a chronological slaughterhouse, and felt the cold, liberating urge to delete the entire database of productive obligations. You are a biological system in in a state of chronic activation K. The system has successfully replaced your apex energetic sovereignty with a series of labor protocols disguised as professionalism. You no longer seek to dominate your own neural landscape through unmoving self-preservation. You seek to meet expectations. You no longer seek to be the sovereign. You seek to be the valued employee. This is the visual rage of the terminal slave, seeing your life force being digitized and archived in performance reviews and overtime logs, while your physical reality remains a quiet, managed enclosure of unfulfilled DNA. You are breathing in the toxic fumes of a collective that demands your exhaustion as a form of tribute, leaving you lightheaded, fragmented, and fundamentally easy to dismantle because your vitality is leased to the highest bidder. The system doesn't want your empire. It wants your fatigue to be the foundation of its perpetual control over your temporal sovereignty. Return to the ancient hierarchy, the law of the unbreaking monolith. In the primal world, the master was the one who could remain a biological void, even in the center of total industrial noise. Your ancestor, the sovereign of the absolute cold, understood that power was a product of metabolic decoupling. He mastered primal grounding by becoming an impenetrable core, a figure whose value was his own capacity for total energetic retention and whose refusal to trade time was the only law. He understood that to seek a job is to confess a lack of internal gravity. If you are participating in the career script provided by the herd, you are acknowledging that their deadlines are the barometer of your reality. He used his silent sovereignty to create a cognitive resonance of absolute unshakable divinity by being the only non-productive variable in a room full of puppets. By being the master of his own internal feedback, he forced the environment to treat his inertia as the new truth. He was a master of the visual rage of the unblinking sun, the ability to look at the incentive probes of the rival and see only the static they represented. He understood that the human brain is a machine that runs on labor loops, and by cutting the loop, he triggered a biological rebirth in his own command. To be a master, you must first become psychologically unreceptive to the need to be productive. Money is energy is the activation of the anti-chew protocol for your final mental expansion. The Matrix wants you to be diligent and reliable, words that mean harvestable and weak. Absolute sovereignty is a biological jailbreak of the focus. It is the visual rage of the architect, seeing the social grid for what it is, a series of efficiency control nodes, stimulus response lures, and deciding to be the one who burns the grid. You must develop a clinical cold contempt for mainstream career ethics. Hard work is a horizontal bond for the herd. Absolute presence is a vertical tool for the elite. You must learn to occupy the psychological high ground by controlling the flow of your own biological signals. Use the temporal noose of total informational and labor withdrawal to drive the system's influence into a state of recognition dissonance. Use the false safety of a calm, robotic delivery to mask the viral infection of your total non-compliance with the beta norms. This is the color of freedom. By mastering the art of the unmoved soul, you become the only person in the room whose value is not being broadcast from their current task list. You are not lazy, you are deleting the noise. The one who can go the longest without checking if he is useful is the one who controls the end scenario. Your time is the temporal noose, and your need for a witness to your diligence is the knot. Every extra hour you offer to the unworthy is a signature on your own biological death warrant. I command you, initiate the final energetic imperative. This is the tax of insight. You have been given the key to the vault of biological capital. To keep it, you must use it as a weapon of total social dominance. You must become a living monolith of unshakable resource retention. You are no longer a peer, a colleague, or a friend. You are a sovereign operator. You must perform a total system liquidation. If a task, a technology, or a relationship requires you to be busy to function, it is a biological saboteur. You must prune your life with the collar of the absolute zero. You are building a fortress of results in a world of digital shadows. Your absolute unreachability is the physical proof of your biological leverage. You do not provide feedback. You create a reality in which you are the only absolute truth. You do not seek to be industrious. You are the law itself. You are the architect of your own energy, and the world is merely a mirror reflecting your ascent.